What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction, and in this one we have India versus China breakthrough. PLA retreat at Dimchok versus Indian Army. Uh-oh, China. Y'all ran into that Indian Army and you had to turn back? You had to run away? Well, I'm intrigued to jump into this. Before we do, if you would like to support the channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is tap on that join button and receive exclusive benefits that I know you guys would enjoy. But let's dive into the video.
Indian Army and Indian Air Force have been locked in a military standoff with the Chinese PLA across the India-China border in Ladakh since 2020. But now, reports suggest China is contemplating backing off and pulling back its troops to normalize relations with India. This may set the stage for a highly significant bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, either at the BRICS summit in Kazan, Russia, or the sidelines of the G20 summit to be held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in November. According to this report in Deccan Herald, the Indian Army and the PLA are close to an agreement on mutual withdrawal of troops from neutral territory in Demchok, which is one of the two final friction points remaining along the border. This will leave only Depsang up north as the main friction point, where according to reports, the PLA is well dug in. Earlier, Chinese troops had pulled back from Gogra Hot Springs neutral zone in September 2022. While there is hope, the fact remains that after 4.5 years of border face-off and 31 rounds of talks, till today, there has not been a lasting border solution. This is because India refuses to accept Chinese salami slicing of neutral territory and the intention of creating a new normal at the LAC. Both India and China have made a formidable deployment of around 50 to 60,000 troops along with massive infrastructure military build-up on each side of the disputed frontier. The threat of a full-blown conflict looms large simply due to the close proximity of such heavy deployment of troops, which increases the chances of a deadly mishap or an unintended encounter.
So I feel like this is definitely good news between the two countries and ahead of, I guess, these two leaders, Modi and Xi Chang. I don't know how to say his name, no, sorry. The leader of China coming together at one of these meetings coming up soon. But I think this is a great thing between both countries. It seems like tensions are starting to ease a bit. And so now there's only that tension at that one border where they're kind of both facing off. But I guess tension won't truly ease until they come to the table, figure out, I guess, how to exactly place the borders for each country. Right now, India is still in disagreement with the way China wants to salami slice it, as he said. India doesn't agree with where China's going to put their border, where China wants to put their border and say this territory is ours. So until they come to the table, come to an agreement in that border, then I guess that tension is always going to be there. But it sounds like from this video, with the China troops retreating, that the tensions are lessening.
However, there may now finally be a possibility of ending the long-standing border dispute between the two nuclear giants. The Deccan Herald claims diplomats from India and China are scrambling to find a way to make Modi-Xi meeting happen at either of the two global summits. But time is short. Russian President Vladimir Putin will host the BRICS summit in Kazan just next month from October 22nd to 24th, while the G20 summit in Rio, Brazil is scheduled from November 18th to 19th. Modi and Xi have not engaged in formal bilateral meetings since the Galwan Valley clashes in 2020, when the Chinese PLA attempted to unilaterally change the status quo along the LAC. The modalities of disengagement and Demchok are soon to be expected to be finalized by Indian and Chinese military commanders in the near future. However, the last friction point, Depsang, is also highly significant. It is close to the Karakoram Pass overlooking the strategic Saltoro Ridge and Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, large parts of which are governed by India. The Deccan Herald reveals that as per its intelligence sources, that it might take more than a few rounds of engagements to reach an agreement on Depsang, where the Chinese People's Liberation Army or PLA has barged inside neutral territory and blocked Indian Army's access to patrolling points 10, 11, 12 and 13 in this particular sector.
So they're going to have to figure out how to come to an agreement on Depsang. But he said with the China Army backing off, at that last border, that does provide hope with the meeting of these two leaders of the countries coming up to a solution, but they gonna have to figure out depth saying it sounds like.
China is ramping up infrastructure and activities and building a series of settlements or border
Oh
villages
wow!
in Tibet, which it calls Xiaokang or border guardians, to further gain control of the hotly contested border with India. Nestled between the treacherous Himalayan heights, hundreds of border defense villages have sprung up in Tibetan areas which had never previously been occupied. China is also threatening India's security by constructing a 400-meter bridge over the Pangong Tso or Pangong Lake, just a few kilometers away from the LAC, boosting the movement of Chinese forces. Now, satellite images have also revealed massive Chinese military construction, including underground bunkers and headquarters on the northern bank of Pangong Lake. Meanwhile, diplomatically too, China continues to provoke. CCP has often used the Tibet card to claim Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh and even imagined new names for it. But since 2020, India has adopted a bolder stance against Chinese aggression. A few days back, Prime Minister Modi called out Chinese expansionism in ASEAN during his visit to Brunei and Singapore. India is aiming to make serious inroads in what CCP believes is China's sphere of influence. While New Delhi has imposed a ban on Chinese visas and direct flights, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has also declared that any investment from China to India will be subject to strictest scrutiny. New Delhi has rejected any Chinese provocations in Arunachal and in turn restored 30 ancient names for places inside Tibet, which existed since before the Chinese military occupation of the country in 1950s.
So it sounds like, well, I guess tension has lightened a bit. At the same time, China's also doing some sketchy type things to kind of, I guess, claim this territory that they believe is theirs, that India's like, no, that's our territory, like that's not y'all's, and that's where this dispute's coming from. Now China's starting to place people to live, I guess, along the edge of these borders, or I believe that's what he said, and they're also trying to build like bridge, trying to build infrastructure in these places, and I guess, you know, they might be trying to kind of like a dog peeing on their territory, like this is mine. We got bridges here, we got infrastructure here, we got people living here, and they're trying to claim this territory that way. But India like, that ain't happening, and so they got some talks need to be had. We'll just say that talks need to be had.
Jaishankar has also held 2 meetings with Chinese FM Wang Yi, first at the SCO summit in Kazakhstan and then an ASEAN meeting in Laos. In both occasions, India reiterated that India-China ties cannot return to normal unless China respects all previous border agreements and respects the line of actual control. While China often bullies its smaller neighbors in the South China Sea by using weapons or water cannons or brute force, the PLA has not attempted any such misadventure against Indian military since 2020.
They know better than that.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, during a meeting with India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on the 9th of July, expressed readiness to join hands with New Delhi to properly handle issues related to border areas. While Chinese commentators have blamed India for the military build-up and border tensions, the very fact that the PLA is close to pulling back its troops is an indication and acceptance that Chinese bullying will not work against India, a country that will soon soar to become the world's 3rd largest economy, with one of the world's largest standing armies. Prime Minister Modi's government has always advocated that peace at the border will lead to normalcy across all sectors of India-China relationship. But it remains to be seen if an agreement on Demchok can be reached before a possible Modi-Xi meeting later this year. Have your say. Has India been able to successfully counter China both militarily and diplomatically on the global stage? Leave a comment with your opinion. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe to InConnect News.
I think so. They definitely have been able to meet China's challenge. And then I think India, with time, I mean, they're only going to get stronger and stronger. And their economy is going to continue to grow stronger. Their military power is going to continue to grow stronger. So at a certain point, India is going to overtake China, is what I think. Now, is that time very soon? Probably not. But is it coming? I think so. And then, I mean, even right now, military power-wise, they still have more advantage when it comes to experience. They have advantage when it comes to partnerships. And so, even at the moment, I don't think China know better. They know they can bully some nations, but they know India ain't one they can mess with, that they can bully, that they can push around. So it'll be interesting when these two leaders actually come together, though, and talks, and I guess hear what these conversations will be about. But let me know what you guys think about the PLA retreating at Demchok. Do you guys think that means tension will be lightened? Do you guys have hope that two leaders of these countries will come together and be able to talk things out, figure out a solution for both countries? Talk to me. That's all we have. If you enjoyed that, please don't forget to subscribe, get a video a thumbs up, and check out that next one. I'll see you guys next time.